What is going on, guys? LSU Recruiting HQ back, and this is a tremendous episode. We are going right after the LSU women's basketball team captures the first national championship in school history on the men's or women's side. And what can I say about Kim Mulkey in year two? What an amazing season these girls had. All the adversity they fought through, and everything that they had to overcome this season, from the doubters to everybody in Louisiana believing that this team could do what they did and accomplish the ultimate goal and winning a championship. Um, Hats off to those ladies, and super congratulations to Kim Mulkey and the LSU women's basketball program at a historic accomplishment. We're going to dive into that, but not only that happening this weekend. Obviously, we had the women's Final Four, but we also had LSU baseball this weekend. We also had LSU softball, LSU gymnastics competing in Denver this weekend in their regional, and the Tigers had an amazing weekend. It kicked off Thursday night with LSU baseball in Tennessee, taking on Tennessee. They end up taking 2 or 3 from the series from the Volunteers, and an incredible performance from Paul Skeens once again on Thursday night. Friday night was another nail biter, but you guys, they did what they had to do to win the ball game. They pull out a victory 6-4, and then Saturday they have a lackluster performance. Tennessee ends up getting the finale, but LSU still managed to win 2 out of 3, and also for the first time since 2013, they are finally able to win their first 3 SEC series, and that means a lot going forward, being that their road is not finished yet. As they go to a hostile environment and a hot team in South Carolina next weekend. That being said, women's basketball stole the show all weekend. I was at Alex Box this weekend, and I can tell you guys, I've been to a lot of LSU sporting events, and that's Friday night game was just different. The buzz in the ballpark with the women's Final Four game going on at the same time, and the reaction to the crowd when the final score got announced that LSU had won and was going to be playing for the national championship on Sunday. That was just an incredible moment and something special that I'll never forget. It's one of those moments that you'll always be able to say, hey, I was at that game when that happened. And that was a super cool thing to be a part of. But obviously, LSU women's basketball gets the dub on Friday night over Virginia Tech. They have a tremendous comeback from double digits in the fourth quarter. They come back and win that game. Like I said, the crowd goes crazy at the box. The Tigers get the win on the baseball field as well. But man, that moment all led to this. On Sunday, LSU takes down Iowa 102-85, and yes, I said 102 points scored in this ball game. LSU erupted in the second quarter, outscoring Iowa 32-20, 30 points in a quarter. These are only 10-minute quarters, guys. LSU was just shooting lights out. I don't think there was anybody in the country that was beating this team tonight. They were just so efficient. They've been a bad shooting team all season from three-point range. Tonight they were 65%, which is unheard of, shooting that for the entire game. 54% from the field. And like I said, 102 points. That is a women's Final Four record for most points scored in a Final Four game. Just LSU and what this season has been. The build up to the South Carolina game, and then you end up losing that game by 20 plus points. And it's really feeling like, hey, maybe this isn't the year. But everybody felt like, hey, next year could be the one where they ascend to that level. And then you lose to Tennessee in the SEC championship, and you kind of thinking the same thing. Then LSU gets a 3 seed after only having 2 losses all season. They get snubbed with a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. But the chips just fell in LSU's favor. They ended up not having to play a single 1 seed until the Final Four game. They get blessed with Indiana getting knocked out early, a 2 seed getting knocked out early. They end up beating Utah as the lower seed in that regional, and then you end up taking on Virginia Tech in the Final Four. And like I said, they got down very early, got down 10, and then stormed their way back and ended up winning the game. And then tonight's game against Iowa, you have the same thing. You have a superstar on Iowa's team, and they just did a tremendous job containing her and forcing her to make every play for Iowa, and she just eventually got worn out. And then with LSU shooting it the way they were tonight, it was hard for me to imagine that Iowa was going to be able to keep up. They just continued. Once Iowa got it close, they got it within 8, I believe, in that third quarter. Just LSU started turning up the heat again and putting that pressure on them and making tough shots. Like, they were not taking wide open threes and wide open jumpers. They were just making tough shots all night. And hats off to that crew because, man, they brought it, and they brought it in the biggest game. And I'm so happy for that program to accomplish what they have accomplished this year. And it's only going to continue to get better with the number 1 recruiting class coming in. We're also going to give a big shout out to LSU Gymnastics, as on Friday they win their first half of the regional and they go to the Sweet 16 of the gymnastics meet, which is taking place today. It has not went final yet, but LSU is the top seed in that as the number 6 overall seed. And then if they win that today, they will be advancing on to the finals in the gymnastics. And like I said, it was just a tremendous weekend. You had LSU Baseball, you had LSU Gymnastics on Friday, you had LSU Women's Basketball all weekend. LSU Softball dominated this weekend as well. It was just one of those weekends, man, where it's great to be an LSU Tiger, as all of your teams succeeded and went on to win all of their events. We're going to talk a little bit more about baseball and what we're going to talk about going forward with them as they hit the road to South Carolina this weekend. It was an amazing series, a very hard-fought series. Could it went either way. Tennessee is a great baseball team, as we all know. But the atmosphere at the box, man, I got a feeling that played a huge role in this weekend. Tennessee hasn't played in much environments like that on the season. But, man, Thursday and Friday night, that box was rocking, and it definitely had an effect on the game and carried momentum for the Tigers to grab the victory in Game 1 and 2. Paul Skeens, I mean, what more can you say? The kid is absolutely electric. You just go out there and you just pencil down a W on Fridays or Thursdays or whenever they play the first game of the series. He is just that amazing, and it is so hard to believe that this kid was at the Air Force Academy last year and throwing about 94, 95 miles an hour to what he is doing now is just incredible. And then you go and watch guys like Dylan Cruz, who continued his hit streak throughout the weekend. I believe it's up to 26 games or 27 games now. Didn't have a hit in the second game of the season. But has a hit in every single game, has gotten on base every single game this season. So LSU moves on to 6-3 in the conference, still in first place in the SEC West. With their big win over Arkansas, they were in second. But you have a tough test coming up. You really have to figure out what's going to happen on Sundays. Thatcher Hurd doesn't make it out the first inning, gives up 6 runs in the first inning. And just a sight for sore eyes, to say the least. The first 2 innings, you give up 10 runs. On Sunday, you kind of just got yourself in a hole you couldn't dig out of. It would have been nice if that game was a little bit closer. You obviously want Thatcher Hurd to be that guy going down the stretch, but I got a feeling next weekend you're not going to see him pitching on Sundays. I got a feeling he's going to move back to that midweek role, and I look for a guy like Chase Shores to come back in that role, or even Griffin Herron. Griffin Herron was awesome on Saturday night, really sealed the deal for LSU in the last 2 innings of that game. Threw Tennessee a bunch of curveballs and just kept them off balance, and that left-handed motion gives a lot of teams fits. And that's exactly what happened. Griffin Herron is a well qualified guy. Jay Johnson said multiple times on all his interviews that that guy's going to be in the rotation one day. It might not be this year, but then again, at this point in the season, you have to look at all options. And now with Thatcher Hurd struggling to pitch on Sundays, you have to look at all your options. And Griffin Herron and Chase Shores are two freshmen out of Texas that could give you the best possible chance to win. I think you're set with obviously Paul Skeens and Ty Floyd. I think Ty Floyd's going to pick it up. He needs to be more consistent, keep the ball in the ballpark. But once he figures that out, I think that 1-2 combo on Fridays and Saturdays is going to be deadly. And then you're just going to have to piece games together on Sunday until you can figure out that consistency that you're looking for from the pitching staff. But like I said, all in all, a great weekend. They have a huge series coming up with South Carolina this coming weekend in Columbia, South Carolina. And they will take on the Gamecocks, who only have one loss so far, 8-1 in the conference, three losses overall. So a great team. Obviously going to be another top 10 matchup for LSU. That'll be their third straight series where they take on a top 10 ball club. Man, that's all I'm going to say for today. I'm going to keep it nice, short, and sweet. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. I'm so sorry I've been gone. It's been a mess. We've been moving in, but we finally got a new place, and we're getting everything set up to where we're going to make this into the LSU Recruiting HQ studios, and I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to be an LSU Tiger this weekend, and one more huge congratulations to Kim Mulkey and the LSU basketball team as they win the first national championship in school history for the men's or the women's side. Huge shout out to them, and I will catch you guys next time. I promise I'm going to get more consistent with this stuff, and I appreciate you guys for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you like the page, subscribe to the channel, like the video, do whatever you got to do, man. Just support us. We appreciate it very much, and it is always great to hear feedback from you guys. Have a blessed rest of your weekend. Have a great work week, and I will see you guys next time.